Welcome back. China and the U.S. will hold their fifth strategic economic dialogue later this week. Foreign Ministry spokesman Liu Jianchao says China is willing to work with Washington to promote trade and economic relations. Yang Shanshan has the story.
The Foreign Ministry spokesman Liu Jianchao says top officials from U.S. and China will discuss macroeconomic policies designed to tackle the financial crisis at the fifth China-U.S. Strategic Economic Dialogue. The environmental and energy cooperation will also be matters of primary concern. The mechanism for talks was initiated by China and the Bush administration in 2006. Ever since, it's become an important way to advance economic links and cooperation between the two countries. And China says it hopes to hold similar talks with the Obama administration.
We believe such a mechanism has played a positive role in China-U.S. relations. China is willing to work with the new U.S. administration to promote economic and trade links.
Meanwhile, Foreign Minister Yang Jiechi welcomed Hillary Clinton, who was recently chosen to be the new U.S. Secretary of State.
Please convey my warm congratulations to her, and I'm looking forward to a very good working relationship with now Senator Clinton, but Secretary Clinton later on, and to further our friendship.
With trade and economic links closer than ever, China hopes to secure smooth ties with the Obama administration. Yang Shanshan, CCTV.
U.S. Treasury Secretary Henry Paulson says the engagement with China through the Strategic Economic Dialogue has helped yield meaningful results. Paulson told a Washington forum ahead of the fifth SAID in Beijing that the dialogue has improved the U.S.-China relationship, allowing the two countries to effectively manage complex issues. He stressed that engagement with China has helped the U.S. manage the current financial crisis. Paulson also expressed appreciation for the responsible role China has played in promoting multilateral mechanisms for cooperation. He said China will continue to play a key role in the world economy, and China's growth is an opportunity for U.S. companies, consumers, producers, exporters and investors. The yuan has fallen for the fourth straight trading day against the US dollar after China's central bank announced the fourth interest rate cut since mid-September. On Tuesday, the China Foreign Exchange Trading System said the yuan central parity rate was 6.8527 yuan to $1 compared with 6.8505 yuan on Monday. This rate is calculated based on a weighed average of prices from all market makers before the opening of the market each business day. The central parity rate of the yuan lost 156 basis points against the US dollar on Monday, the biggest loss since the yuan became unpegged from the dollar in July 2005. Experts attribute the recent depreciation to the interest cut, adding that this may aid the country's slowing exports. European Union finance ministers meeting in Brussels have endorsed an economic recovery plan of 200 billion euros over the next 2 years. With the region's economy in recession, the targets are public spending, credit guarantees, loan subsidies and financial aid for clean and green industries. The ministers called the plan drafted by the European Commission a good basis to stimulate the EU economy, which shrank 0.2% in the second and third quarters. The plan foresees public spending in the magnitude of 1.5% of the EU's gross domestic product. But the finance ministers ruled out allowing cuts in sales taxes to under the minimum of 15%. A final decision on the recovery plan lies with the EU leaders who meet in Brussels on December the 11th. U.S. Chief Nuclear Envoy Christopher Hill has held talks with his Japanese counterpart Akitaka Saiki ahead of next round of six-party talks on the DPRK's nuclear issue. The two agree that an agreement to allow inspectors to take samples from Pyongyang's nuclear complex to verify past nuclear activities should be written into a six-party deal. Liu Yanhua has more details.
After Tuesday's meeting in Tokyo, Hill and Saiki told reporters that taking samples from DPRK's nuclear complex is a key part of the verification process. This list of measures, including taking samples, should be clearly stated in a written agreement.
All of that, I think the important point to understand is that when we get to verification, we don't want misunderstandings, and the way to clear up misunderstandings is to have things worked out in advance, and that's what the protocol is all about.
The new round of six-party talks will start in Beijing on Monday. The U.S., Japan, and South Korea will have a three-way meeting before the talks to coordinate their positions. The Beijing talks followed Hill's visit to Pyongyang in early October. That's when he struck a verification deal with the DPRK to save the stalled six-party talks. The Bush administration dropped the country from its terrorism blacklist on October 11th. After that, Pyongyang claimed it would continue disarmament activities. But the U.S. and the DPRK have had disputes over verification methods, with the U.S. claiming its verification deal allows inspectors to take samples away from the nuclear facilities. The DPRK, however, disagrees. Liu Yanhua, CCTV.
The UN Security Council has adopted a new resolution to extend for 12 months the mandate for countries to fight pirates off the Somali coast. The resolution is the third such agreed by the 15-member body since June. The Council also praised NATO for its decision to counter piracy off the Somali coast, and it welcomed last month's decision by the European Union to launch a naval operation to protect humanitarian vessels and other vulnerable ships. China's ambassador to the UN, Zhang Yesui, says China vigorously supports and is ready to participate in international anti-piracy endeavours coordinated by the UN. He also called on the international community to resolve the domestic crisis in Somalia, which he says is the root cause of the increased piracy. Palestinian Prime Minister Salam Fayyad says he won't be able to pay the December salaries of 77,000 government employees in Gaza because of a severe cash drought in the banks. Fayyad says the state should transfer funds to Gaza banks on Wednesday, but an Israeli blockade has prevented moving enough cash to the Hamas-ruled territory. Israel stopped spending cash to Gaza in October as part of a tighter border closure. Israel says only humanitarian aid will be allowed. The salaries are key to the survival of Gaza's hard-hit economy. This is Worldwide Watch. Just ahead, the Taiwan-based Straits Exchange Foundation re-elects Chang Ping-kun as chairman of the organization. And China's tourism industry takes steps to boost domestic demand amid a global economic downturn.